Hello everybody and welcome back to Ready Steady DIY. Today we'll be taking a look at the Klein Tools 935 DAG digital angle gauge. The tiny tool that's made for electricians, but useful to anyone. The 935 DAG is a digital angle meter that's marketed towards electricians. Essentially, it's a tiny device that you stick on stuff and it tells you its angle of inclination. It's grooved on all four edges, and one side has a strong magnet that's clearly designed to help you attach it to EMT conduit, which electricians use all the time. There's a picture of that right on the front of the packaging. Since an electrician often has to bend the conduit that they're fishing the wire through, knowing how far they're bending it is pretty important. But while it's made for electricians, it also has a serious application for DIY people and homeowners. More on that in a second. Operation's pretty simple. There's only two buttons. The left button is the power on/off button, and it zeroes out the gauge. The right button holds whatever information is on the screen. Place the gauge upside down, and the display auto-compensates. While you can use this as a level, it's much better for measuring the difference or offset between two angles. The reason you probably wouldn't use it as a level is because it's just so small. If you're leveling something, you want to level from edge to edge, across the whole length or whole width of the item. It'll tell you whether part of something is level, but that doesn't really matter. It's much more useful to determine the difference between certain angles. Once you start to think about it as a DIY person, you'll find all kinds of uses for this device. I put it on my table saw to make sure that when I flipped it over to 45 degrees, it was actually at 45 degrees. Here's a link to that video. Likewise, I could put it on the miter saw. Just put it right on the blade, make sure the teeth don't interfere, and you can make sure that the bevel angle you think you're cutting at is the actual angle you're cutting at. Here's a link to that video. My drill press is pretty cheap, and the gauge that tells you what angle you've tilted the table to is also pretty useless. With the digital angle gauge, I can finally figure out exactly what angle I've tilted the table to, and therefore know what angle my drill is meeting the material at. I started walking around the house and I realized, hey, I have a bench press, and it inclines. Except while the instructions certainly did a good job of telling me how to put it together, it's less than clear what position amounts to what degree of incline. You can guess 45, but was it really? This digital angle meter allowed me to measure the degree of incline at every stage on my bench. Now I know I can label them. One thing I noticed is that if you don't calibrate the device, it'll be a little off, particularly if you rotate it. Calibration is explained in the instructions, but that's buried really deep in the instructions. To recalibrate the device, you start by turning it off and then place it upright on a smooth, flat surface. Then you press and hold the range button while pressing the power 0 button. You release both buttons, then press the power 0 button again. The display will then read Cal 1. The next step is you rotate it 180 degrees so the display is facing away from you. You press the power 0 button again. The display then reads Cal 2. At that point, you've calibrated the device. Once the device is calibrated, you'll notice it's a lot more accurate as you turn it over and over. The feature I like the most is that after 10 minutes, the unit will power off. I have a number of digital multimeters that just spend their life dead because somebody forgets to turn them off. Auto off is a great feature. There are a couple of downsides. If you tilt it too far back, it will show you an error. And the screen scratches quite easily. You can see that here. I'm going to put a screen protector on mine to keep it from scratching further. Generally speaking, I got to trust the device. I haven't tried every single one of these that's on the market. But this one feels pretty solid, robust, and after calibration, I got to trust it. In other words, for about $30 US, you get a pretty durable tool. It doesn't cost very much, and it barely takes up any space in your toolkit, but to check the difference between angles quickly, this is perfect. I think any homeowner or any DIY person can find use for this in their kit. I'm keeping mine, I'm glad I got it. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope this helped you out. I'll put links to products in the description below. Please like and subscribe, but hey, even if you don't, leave a comment in the comment section below. Comments help me make the channel better, and that's what I want.